I'm in Hyundai's flagship SUV, which is the enormous Palisade, and I've been really excited to drive this. I had to miss the launch because I was on another launch or something, so I've been excited to get this because it competes with some of my favorites, I guess, are like BMW X5 or X7, Audi Q7, Mercedes-Benz GLE, and like also sort of a Fortuner and Everest, but it's like a bit more premium than that. Do you know what I mean? It kind of sits in the middle. It's like the Goldilocks. I just thought about that now. Wasn't even something I thought about earlier. Anyway, so that's why I've been really excited to drive it. So it sits above the Hyundai Santa Fe, and this is offered in 7 or 8 seats. I've got the 7-seater, so you can see it's got 2 separate seats. And then if you're going to get the 8-seater, then it's 1 row. Rude. Also, I'm not going to say who it was. He's a celebrity. So the 8-seater is just like a bench, obviously there. So these are 2 separate seats or whatever, which is quite nice because you can get through to the back quite easily. But it's really comfortable, really spacious. The boot's at 509 litres. I mean, I can't wait to go on a road trip in this car. Like, I won't have to worry too much about my packing. That's the best part for me. Okay, now this is definitely a song I play in the bag with my kids and embarrass them while I sing along to it, which I'm always going to do, obviously. When I'm a-walking, I stop myself and I'm so strung out. I'm high as a kite, I just might stop to check you out. But when I say premium, it really has like sort of heated seats and cooled seats. Okay, just in case it's a bit hot. You've got this conversation mirror. So like, you open this and that means you can see everybody in the back. So you can like be like, hey, I see you. Stop doing that to your kids. You know what I mean? I quite love that. It's also got things like rear seat quiet mode, which I think is fantastic. Basically, it means that the speakers in the front here operate, but the rest don't. So if your kids are sleeping, or like I had my in-laws on a road trip in another car and we were listening to a podcast, they weren't that keen on that. Well, they were for a bit of it, but then I think they were sort of like, okay, you guys obviously do this often, we're a bit bored of it, and they would like to have read. I would think it would have been easier. Do you know, because then everyone's not affected by what everyone else wants to listen to. I mean, the technology these days, we were just told to shut the up. We didn't have a choice. It's also got safe exit assist, which I think is really good for a family car. So if there's a car approaching and one of your kids is about to open the door, whatever, it will let you know, and you can be like, hey, close the door. Obviously, you won't shout at them, but you might. Depends on your parenting style. Not saying it's mine. Totally is. Oh, load shedding. Us all up. Robots. My house, I tried to make myself a piece of toast before filming. Couldn't do that. Sheesh. So it has a 2.2 litre turbo diesel. Under the bonnet, you're getting 148 kilowatts of power and 440 newton meters of torque. Now, some would like it to have a bit more power. I don't disagree. I think when you have this fully loaded, you might then feel it to be ever so slightly sluggish. But I say that with also in mind that you don't actually have to be driving like a maniac with your family in the car. If you can overtake, that's always my thing. If you're able to overtake and on an incline even, you're good to go. Okay? We're fine. So I think that this is totally adequate in power. Fuel consumption is claimed at 8.2 litres per 100 k's. I'm sitting at 9.6. I kind of really wish that was lower, but you have to think of the size of this car, and it's not so bad. If you can drive better than I'm driving, I've been like around town, up and down, stopping, so you certainly can get it lower, and I think that's really good. Let me go wild like a blister in the sun. Let me go wild. Oh, I'm so gonna embarrass my kid. I do have a couple of gripes. Okay, so this car comes in at 999,900 Rand, okay? 100 Rand less than a million. And they've done that on purpose, obviously, because they want to say their car is under a million. And with that, it's good value for money. Really, really good value for money. Because if you had to go for something like a Fortuner, for instance, and try and spec it up or whatever, have the spec that this has, you're going to pay more. Okay, so I don't think there's anything that sort of matches it in terms of price and what it is that you get. But in doing so, keeping it under $1 million, it forgoes a few things like adaptive cruise control, which sounds kind of silly, but for me, with a family car and you're going to be traveling in this, I think it is. If the others have it, I kind of think that you want to have it. You kind of expect it. And because it's got such a premium feel already, you sort of expect to have it. And then you realize that it doesn't. And I'm like, but that's weird. Then it starts feeling a little bit less premium compared to the competitors that I mentioned earlier. So like I said, actually, it's a Goldilocks car. It's the sort of perfect in-betweener. It's not as sort of industrial as a Fortuner. But it's not as maybe fancy pants as sort of an X7 or Q7 or whatever. When I'm walking, I strap my stuff and I'm so strung out. Okay, you ready, everybody? Let me go out like a blister in the sun.